Okay, we are beginning Algebra 1, Lesson 13. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about what a number. The number is simply an idea that when we wish to write down something to represent this idea, we use a numeral. So for instance, let's look at what we have up here. We have 7, 14 over 2, 14 plus 3. We can call all of these notations numerical expressions or just a numeral, because every one of them represent some number, which is what? 7. They all represent 7, and 7 is the value of that numerical expression. In algebra, we use letters as well to represent numbers. When letters are used in the expression, we now call them an algebraic expression or a mathematical expression. So when we have a mathematical expression, we're using either numbers by themselves or letters only or a combination of letters and numbers. For instance, let's take this. 4 plus x. That's an algebraic expression. And we say the algebraic expression has a value that depends on the value that we assign to x. And that x is called a variable, because it changes depending on what we assign to it. So for instance, if we assign the value 5, this algebraic expression, the value of that algebraic expression becomes 15. We can also call these unknowns. Oops, okay. Now 4 does not change regardless of what we assign to x. 4 is still going to have the value of 4. Therefore, we call that a constant. Constant. When it has a value that will not change, it's called a constant. Okay. We also talked about way back when we did multiplication for real numbers. We said there's different ways of writing multiplication, right? For instance, 4 times x, parentheses, 4 dot x, and we can also do this. Those are all different ways to represent multiplication. But look at this one. That also represents multiplication. That means 4 times x when you have a variable next to a number or another variable. However, if I wrote the number 45, that does not mean 4 times 5. That means the value of 45. But if we have variables, it means multiplication. Just like we had x, y, z. All that means is x times y times z. And the algebraic expression, the value of that will depend on what we assign to those variables. So what are we talking about? Let's look at some examples. For instance, let's look at this one. Find x and p, where x is equal to 4, m is equal to 5, and p is equal to 2. So we said x is 4, m is 5, and p is 2. So we have 4 times 5 is 20, times 2 is 40. So this algebraic expression has a value of 40. Let's look at another one. It says evaluate. And evaluate is just another way of saying find or calculate. These are all terms that you're going to see in math. And you just got to know they just mean solve the problem is basically what they say. So we said evaluate 4yz minus 5 if y equals 2 and z equals 10. Well, we replace y with 2, oops, and z with 10, and then we evaluate. Again, we use our please, excuse, my dear, and Sally. So do we have any parentheses? We do, but is there anything inside the parentheses? No. Do we have any exponents or square roots? No. But we do have multiplication. So we start from left to right. 4 times 2 is 8, times 10 is 80. So 80 minus 5 is simply 75. Alright, let's do another one. pretty simple. That's all it is. One thing you have to remember, if there's a given value of x, no matter how many times it's in the algebraic expression, it must have that same value. Now, let's look at one here. Evaluate negative a minus b minus ab, where a is equal to negative 3 and b is equal to negative 4. And here's another error. That negative is there. What is a? You put it outside the parentheses because, so no, you don't forget that negative. Okay, because this simply means negative 1 times a. It's an implied 1. Minus, what is b? Negative 4. Again, you put that negative in the outside, and you put what the value of b is. It's negative 4. Minus, again, a does not change. It's still negative 3, and b is still negative 4. And now it's simply, what do we do? So we look at parentheses. Do we have anything inside parentheses that we can evaluate? No. We can look at this as the distribution process, or actually we can use it multiplication. So we have a negative 1 times a negative 3 is a positive 3. Negative 1 times a negative 4 is a positive 4. Negative times a negative times a negative is going to give me a negative. Simply 3 times 4 is 12. Now I got 3 plus 4 is 7 minus 12. The signs are different, so you find the difference, and you get a negative 12 because 12 is bigger and it has a negative sign. It's as simple as that. Oh, excuse me. Negative 5. Negative 5. All right, let's do another one. We're going to do 2 more, and then we will be done, and you need to do all practice problems for this lesson. So evaluate negative x minus negative a plus b, where x is equal to 2, a is equal to negative 4, and b is equal to negative 6. So you simply write your negative. What is x? It's 2. Minus, you have parentheses, you have another negative, so we'll make another parentheses inside. What is a? Negative 4, plus what is b? Negative 6, and I'm actually going to change this to a bracket. Okay, negative times a positive is a negative 2. You keep this negative. You want to do inside the brackets first. Negative times a negative is a positive, so positive 4, positive, so minus 6, and you've got negative 2 minus a negative 2. You either keep parentheses or brackets, it doesn't matter. You can change it because you're down to 1. That still means multiplication to that negative. That negative goes there, so you have negative 2 plus 2, and it's simply 0. Okay? One more. Let's do evaluate negative x a times x minus a plus a, where a is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to 4. See how a is the same number all the way through? The value of a, and same thing with x. You have negative, what's your x? 4. This means multiplication, so you're going to put parentheses. I like parentheses. You can do the multiplication sign or the dot, but I like parentheses because it helps keep your negative signs organized. I'm going to put a bracket around this to keep it separate. X is 4 minus negative 2. I'm going to keep that minus, plus negative 2. Okay, this is all one term, because doesn't this mean this parentheses times that bracket? So this is all one term. So I'm going to keep that here. Actually, I can go ahead and multiply these two. Negative 4 times a negative a is simply what? Positive a. Then I've got to keep this bracket. This becomes 4 plus 2 plus a negative 2. Then you have 4 plus 2, which gives you 6 plus negative 2. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 2 is simply 50. That is it. Please do all practice problems. Bye.